Good evening, brothers and sisters. I'm Jun Takastakas from East District under the track of Milfabs, Melvin Fabelio. We are now in talk number 2 of the Pastoral Workers and Initiation course. Actually, this is Unit 2, Approach 1 of the Pastoral Process and Responsibilities. Talk number 1 is the orientation to the initiation process. And my talk is talk number 2, working towards the goals. Working towards the goals. Okay. Our objective or goals of this session is to present to the new pastoral workers the importance of understanding the goals of the initiation process and working towards them. Then to give them the sequence of goals and the things they need to do at each step to get the new people to reach these goals. And to explain the importance of commitments in the process of formation. Okay, now as an introduction, there are three approaches that are common among Christian leaders, and their approaches shift to many matters, including caring people. The three common orientations are number one, a problem oriented approach, then the activities oriented approach, and the process, pastoral formation process oriented approach. So let us discuss one by one these three approaches. First is the problem oriented approach. Now, we need to be able to handle problems. And when we are working on a problem, simply there are certain ways we need to approach them to be effective. Okay? But the key here is being able to identify real problems and work on the solutions. So, for example, if someone we are working with does not seem to have much spiritual vitality, meaning minus kayo ang spirituality niya ba? So, we may need to figure out that the real problem siguro is the brothers or sisters is not praying. Okay? So, we then need to help them to pray regularly, perhaps making schedule adjustments. So we are successful when we have eliminated the problem. So in this case, getting them to pray and thereby mulig-on ang ilang spiritual life. Okay? But as an overall approach, this is not helpful. Why is this so? Ano man? So, pastoral leaders who take this approach are often at a loss for what to do if there are no problems in a brother's or a sister's life. Di ba? Kini ko nga approach kayo. Just because nga problem-oriented ni siya, what if kung walay problem ang brothers or a sister's life sa iyang kinabuhi? So, lisod, di ba? If, however, they rely on the other brothers and sisters to bring them their problems, so the limitations may be even more severe. Why? Because unformed people usually do not recognize the most serious problems we have. Or sometimes, nang unformed pa ba, they try to keep problems. Okay, ilan na ng taguan. Di ba? Even people who have a good level of Christian commitment are sometimes not good in recognizing and bringing out the real problems. So more importantly, when leaders' approach is problem oriented, they do not actively move new people forward and do not provide vision for where people should be going. Di ba? Kung problem oriented ganing approach sa gamiton, so dili gid sila maka-move people forward. So, moving people forward. In other words, to be effective, our leadership should be proactive, especially if we are working as a pastoral leaders in the process of evangelism, in the process of formation, and initiations in a Christian community. Kaya kung when we are proactive, we do not respond to difficulties and try to overcome them. Rather, we get clear on where we are headed and take steps to get there. That has the beneficial side effects that in the process, we often avoid problems or create resources for dealing with them. So that's the problem oriented approach. Now we go to the activities oriented approach. This is an approach that sees success in terms of holding the activity. Yeah? This is the approach that sees success in terms of holding the activity and judging the success by whether the activities are happening. So your activity might be in a small group, a one-on-one meeting, and etc. Activities, of course, are essential to a community, the evangelism and formation process. And the better the work, the better things go. The part of our leadership responsibility is to run good activities. We put much of our effort into having meetings, getting people to come to them, and seeing that they are lively with good content and good experience for those who come. We also work on having retreats, conferences, instructional sessions, parties, sports events, etc., etc. Good activities are very helpful. However, some leaders, including some pastoral workers, have an activities-oriented approach to what they do. As long as they lead a group, meet with person, give a talk, or do whatever is on their list, they have done their job. At least, if they do such things well, the key to their success in their view is carrying out certain activities. But this approach also has some drawbacks. First, is that it help us to determine when activities are needed. So yung problema sa activities oriented approach. Kung when more are needed and when less are needed, having a basic community or outreach is not the same thing as having a good community or outreach. So more importantly, brothers and sisters, do leaders who take such an approach tend to see having good activities as an end itself. Sometimes they even just having activities as an end in itself, activity for activity's sake. They therefore do not put a high priority on making use of activities to move things forward. An activities oriented approach may not be so problematic if our task is maintenance, meaning uh, ato lang i-maintain ang atong mga tao without moving forward, mayo ang activities oriented approach. It is, however, not very helpful if our task is helping people moving forward. As I've said, in evangelism, information, and in initiations, and it can even be disastrous. We can go for a year running a good men's group, one that is lively, inspiring, even useful. It might even turn out to be what many of us are tempted to appreciate the most, one that everyone likes. But the men's group can still fail to help people move forward in the formation process if we do not do the right things in the course of it. Di ba mga ison? Nga, bisan pag unsa ka bibo, lively na gid kayo inyong MWG, inspiring kaayo. So, dili gyapon siya feel gyapon atong purpose ba in letting our brothers and sisters to move forward, do the right things in the course of it. So evangelism, formation, and initiations work makes use of activities like men's and women's groups. It also involves solving problems, helping people through obstacles. But there's something more to it. It has to be a goal-oriented process. We have to move people forward to reach a goal over a period of time. Because if we do not, we will not be effective for mission works. Okay, moving forward. The third one is the pastoral formation process oriented approach. This is called the goal oriented process oriented approach. As workers in evangelism, formation, and initiations, we need a process orientation. Although we need to solve problems effectively, lead activities well, we mainly need to help people reach a goal in a limited period of time. That, of course, means we need to understand what the goal is, what we are aiming at, kung asa tapayon, where we are going. When we say our approach is process-oriented, we mean that our pastoral service involves moving towards a goal or goals that can only be reached at some point in the future. So that is the process-oriented, and there must be a goal. There is another feature of this that is often overlooked. To say that our approach is process-oriented also means that we are working in such a way that reaching those goals in a limited amount of time determines what we do and how we do it. We usually do not have an unlimited amount of time to work with people because if we do not get some changes to happen, like conversion, for instance, or some amount of schedule discipline, excuse me, they will not stay with us. So if we do not bring them to a certain level of commitment in a couple of years, in a year or two, they will not decide to continue with us. So when they graduate or when they get a good job offer, if we do not help them to understand the value of good courtship approach and time, we will find that they are already deep into a relationship that will be counterproductive to their Christian life. In other words, we are goal oriented, but we are goal oriented with the understanding that we usually have a limited amount of time to reach that goal or we will never reach it. That is the pastoral formation process oriented approach. So this, brothers and sisters, these are three common orientations. So let's continue using a pastoral formation process oriented approach. So brothers and sisters, the approach that we will be using is this one, not the problem oriented approach, not the activities oriented approach, but the pastoral formation process oriented approach. In our previous talk, in talk number one, in the orientation to the initiation process, we worked through the various elements that go into the initiation process. Di ba? So the initiation process are the building blocks, but they are not the process itself. It is not until we have combined them in the right way and work with them so that they achieve certain goals that we have an initiation process. Reminder of the image of the farmer used by St. Paul in 1 Corinthians chapter 3 verses 5 to 8. The farmer doesn't just scatter seeds, he actually plants them and takes care of them until they reach full maturity. Meaning the farmer doesn't just scatter seeds and hope they will grow. Maybe ang uban mutubo, ang uban sa dili, iya man lang scatters. But if he actually plants them carefully, waters them, fertilizes them, and so on and so forth, then they will reach the full maturity. And that is like the process oriented approach. Like the image of the builder also used by Paul. We not only need the right materials, we need to put them together in the right way so that the building is built well. So, brothers and sisters, there's a parallel here with our initiations work. Di ba? We can go gain wisdom, we can gain wisdom and grow in skill so that we do all these things more effectively over time. Now, in the pastoral formation process approach, there are also these elements of the formation process. These are the core initiation meetings and the other key elements. In the core initiations meetings, we have instruction sessions, community courses, formation groups led by pastoral workers, then one-on-one meetings led by pastoral workers still, and then the formation team meetings. The other key elements, attendance at our outreach or community meetings, retreats and other high impact events, then importantly, the participation in service and mission, then relationship building, that is fraternally and pastorally, and help by category of person, meaning help by category is by age, by gender, by the demographics. So these are the elements of the formation process. Now we go to the responsibilities of the pastoral workers in initiation. So mo gini itong mga trabaho, brothers and sisters. Let's work through this and let's see and review the specific responsibilities. Although this is a basic list of the responsibilities of the pastoral workers in initiation, this is good, but somewhat this is an external list. It is not enough to just perform these activities. We need to do these things with goal-oriented pastoral process orientations. We want to keep in mind the aim of the group meetings, one-to-one meetings, and etc. And also, we want to deal with the brothers and sisters as individuals, dealing with their particular challenges as they arise and helping them where they need it. We want to see them connect well with the courses, the meetings, and other aspects of community. Now, what we do as pastoral workers in an initiation process. First is we lead the formation group meetings. Well, we not only lead the formation group meetings, but we also need to know what should happen in the meeting. So, as we go through the various stages of the initiation process, what we should be discussing and working on, and we need to see it will happen. Okay? We meet with our new brothers or sisters in our one-on-one sessions. Here is we not only meet them in one-on-one session, but find out during the one-on-one session, find out how they are doing and handle the problems they bring up. But we also need to know what steps they should be taking or getting ready to take and what they need to do to be ready, and we need to work to get them prepared. Number three, we see that they take the courses and help them apply the course to their lives. So we not only need to see that they take the courses, but we also need to help them apply the materials in the courses practically. So both by working on the materials information groups, but also by discussing personal applications with them in a one-on-one sessions. Number four, we see that they are well connected to the community or university outreach as they move through the process. So we not only say that they are well connected to the community as they move through the process by saying they attend gatherings and retreats and have some service in the community, but we also need to take a concern for their informal connections, especially by watching them, people's relationship, and see that they are getting well along with our brothers and sisters. Okay? Number five, we keep an eye on them in the initiation process and helping them to move forward and address their needs. So there am some sort of pastor in here. Number six is we meet the initiations team and with our supervisors. So, of course, kung trabaho yun, mag-report na to sa supervisors and for evaluations of the things that we are doing. So, brothers and sisters, we need to take a concern that the process as a whole meets their needs, that these elements working together are enough. We may need to get them special help. We may need to get them the initiation team head to make exceptions, and we need to tell them to wait before moving forward because they are not yet ready for what they are getting or will get. We are ensured the advocate and responsible for tailoring the process to them. Okay. Now, after the processes, these are the goals and the stages. You will see that there are two stages in the formation process. That means that the three main steps or transitions that someone needs to make. Right? So, these are the main transitions. So, mo gini ang process na to. This is the goals and stages. First is entering the process, making the initial formation and affiliate commitment. The second step of the process is through the underway commitment. To continue the process, making the underway commitment. And the third one is the step to full community membership through the public commitment. So the three main transition is entering the process, which is the full commitment, initial commitment, initial formation, the continuing the process, making the underway commitment, and completing the process leading to public commitment. Brothers and sisters, the pastoral workers in initiations are responsible for helping those they are responsible for make each of the steps. To get that to happen, give us the three main process goals of our work. So we will begin the last one and work back. Here we want to look briefly at the goals for its main transition, and we will do so by beginning with the endpoint and then working our way backwards, meaning una ta din sa number 3, then moving backward, so that we can make sure that we have the final goal in mind as we set out the process. Okay, so una ta sa taas, that's the endpoint, the public commitment. Our ultimate goal is full covenant membership in the community. That is helping people to make the public commitment. Failing that, getting people to be associates in the community or be part of something else. So once it happens, the initiation process ends and all of our responsibilities as initiations worker ends. So we have attained the goal for which we are working. Diba? Kung siyempre, na kubinantin na good, ato na lang silang na abot dito pa iyon sa being uh, publicly committed brothers and sisters. But the commitment is not an end itself. Someone should not make the commitment until they are ready and be able to live it. So ang goal din ni brothers and sisters is to actually help someone to be a mature Christian disciple, is responsible member of the community. And be a community of disciples on mission like our community and who takes an active role in that mission. and is willing to commit himself or himself to do that. We should also keep in mind that our goal involves helping them to come to a decision, one that they will live out. We can say that our goal is to get the people we are responsible to fulfill those criteria so that we can take the solo flight, meaning ila-ila na, to each their own, so to speak. So to be ready for the public commitment, they need to fulfill the basic criteria for community membership. So being orthodox and moral Christians, so these are the basic criteria. Christian with strong personal relationship with the Lord, good members of the community, community members who are stable in their state of life commitments and living them well in the community, then strong Christian disciples who can keep their bearings in modern society. So only if there are all these things can they live a Christian life effectively and happily be part of a community of disciples and mission. It should be added that we should also keep people from making the public commitment if they are not yet ready for it, or if for any reason it is not right for them. Our goal is not to automatically get everyone into the community, but for the most part, we do better by presupposing that our goal is to bring people to the community, at least until the underway stage, when the wheat shifts to trying to be sure they should be committed members. Okay, moving backward, there is the intermediate point, meaning the underway commitment. Partway through the initiation process, the new people need to make an underway commitment. This is a temporary commitment to the community covenant. We ask them, in short, to leave the covenant for a period of time if they are interested in becoming community members, and use that time to discern if this is the right decision for them to make. So there are two things involved in helping people make the underway commitment. The first is that we have to help them to live the Christian life well. That is, live as Christian disciples with reasonable consistency. Meaning, we need to help them to have basic Christian discipline, Christian order in their schedules and finances. And we also need to help them to relate well to other people in general, but especially in a Christian community context. Then the second one is the need to be ready to consider the community. So these are the two things involved in helping them to make the underway commitment. Before the underway commitment, we have only asked for the seriousness about Christian formation. So to make this new step, we need to ask them for a serious interest in our community membership. So after being underway for a while, they can still say it is not for them. Fine. We do, however, want them to show a serious interest in our community before they take this step. If they are not sure or think they might want to join another group after they graduate, okay lang, it's fine. but we should let them remain in the initiation process or move them to the associate commitment. We will not drop them, but we only want them to make an underway commitment if they have a serious interest in the community, because it is a time of preparation to be part. Our work during this time also in the underway commitment is to see that they are ready to make the commitment, if not help them find another place to live as Christian. Most of that is matter of bringing them through the formation process step by step, and part of it, however, is helping them make the right personal decision to move on Christian discipleship and making community connections for them. So moving more backward is the first goal, the initial commitment. Our goal here is to help people who are ready and who desire to move on, to make the initial commitment and begin the process of formation. So, in order for people to be ready for the initial commitment, they need to reach initial conversion, and this needs to be manifested in the things we do. We should not also let people enter formation unless they are ready, because we cannot give formation to people who are not ready. And our work in this stage is to bring them to make the decision to enter the formation process. So, helping people make the initial commitment. One of the distinctive features of our approach to initiation is asking people to make formal commitments as they go along. So, it can be one of the most effective parts of the process. So, there are several, or a lot of reasons to do this. So, we do this is to emphasize the covenantal aspects of Christianity with God and with brothers and sisters, the good of covenant faithfulness in our relationships. Okay? We do this also to emphasize the covenant aspect and help them to make good decisions. We want them to decide to do what we are inviting them to do. We want them to choose for it, not just be pressured or persuaded, much less be carried away by the emotion or enticed by the prospect of personal benefits. Then we also do this as a way of getting their agreement to let us give them permission. When they say yes, they authorize us to help them the way we are proposing it. And finally, we do this as a way of helping them to prepare for the new stage of the process, helping them to resolve to approach the new stage in a good way. That is how we do in helping people make this decision. Now, summary, the process as a whole, some comments. Process as a whole, being proactive, be purposive, keeping the sequence of goals in mind. We can understand that our initiations work as getting people to make these three steps is to have concrete goals like this will help us to be purposive, meaning proactive, and we need to keep the sequence and goals in mind. Process as a whole is being pastoral but not mechanical. We also need to do what we can do to get the new people ready for its start. This involves personal contact, that is pastorally. And we need to see that they are motivated. We also need to see that they are ready. The process as a whole also is being evangelistic. The main thing here is we are aiming for in the formation process is the inner willingness to believe and do everything involved in Christianity, in discipleship. Process of full conversion and therefore involves freedom. So that's the process as a whole. Now, the final goal. Kapit na tanong. The real goal. One goal guides all that we do. We want a community of disciples in mission. We want as many people to be part and able to give their lives to the Lord as disciples on mission in our community. So the real ultimate goal is not here on earth. It is God being all in all, everything to everyone. On Corinthians, 1 Corinthians chapter 15:28, it is having people on Christ's right hand when he comes in glory. And in Matthew chapter 25, verses 31 to 34, it probably will include the side benefit of joy at the realization that we contributed to some of them being good. So, brothers and sisters, our final goal is to be in the kingdom of God, to be with the relationship with the Lord forever and ever. Amen. Brothers and sisters, I hope that these approaches and the processes that we have discussed will help us, especially the pastoral workers and musicians, in making people into the full commitment, the final destination, that is the public covenant. Thank you very much. Good evening, and God bless us all.